Saudi Cup and welcome to another episode here on the Funky Pod for the Thailand Tuesday. It's a bit later than Tuesday, but we still keep the same energy. So welcome to the Thailand Tuesday here on the Funky Pod, the day of the week where we talk about things happening in Thailand and things that that I think are important that are happening here, and I'm gonna force it on to you. And one thing that happened this past week is actually a thing that's really upsetting to me, that really annoys me because it happens so many times. And as you might know, I work in higher education, and so now what happened again this past week is quite close to home. And what I'm talking about is there was another incident where a freshman student died because of hazing rituals, and that's a big thing here in Thailand. Luckily, my faculty at the university where I work, hazing is not a thing. Luckily. Without sounding too condescending, I think hazing is more still a thing and more of the, I think the more famous unis, they make it clear that they don't want it. But that's what I'm just thinking, because when I look at the bigger universities like Chulalongkorn University, Thammasat, Mahidol, and so on, I haven't heard anything in regards to hazing that went wrong. Maybe I just didn't hear it. So if you know any better, please do let me know. I'm happy to hear and be educated on that. The incidents that I usually hear that you see in the media are mostly universities that are not that, and again, I don't mean to be condescending, that aren't the top tier. I think I've heard now the current one. Then I remember one from Rangsit University back then, but I think the guy didn't die, but that's really interesting, if I'm not mistaken. Again, it's been a few years, but in all the other incidents, I think we have at least one a year or so, and that's just really frustrating because it's 2022. So A, hazing shouldn't be a thing anyways. Then B, what really upsets me is why does nobody step in and step up there? I'm kind of happy-ish that the dad of the past student said he's going to try to actually file legal actions against the students that were involved in killing him. They of course apologized, and they were lying, and they were to his feet, bowing to his feet on their knees and so on. Yeah, great, you killed someone. So I do hope that at one point there's just this. I know he should. You see, I'm still rattled. He should file a lawsuit. He should pursue legal actions, in my opinion, because if you just get away with it, saying, I'm sorry, you killed someone. And so apparently what happened, according to the news reports, is those 6 guys, who organized the hazing ritual, the seniors at the university, they lured this guy to a rice field? No, I don't know. Some field. I don't want to make up anything. And they said, we're going to play some football there with the guys. And then they beat him down, and they were beating him until he actually died. Apparently there were around 60 people present, but I read that 6 of them were the organizers and the ones that were actually doing the action. So many questions. A, how do we just start beating up some random person? Not random, but how do you just beat up a person that doesn't do anything to you? And I'm training Thai boxing, so I'm all about punching in a competitive setting. But how do you just walk up on someone and then just smack them in the face, kick them in the stomach, then they fall to the floor. They're crying in pain probably, and you just keep kicking and punching them? And pardon my French, but what the fuck is wrong with you? There should not be any leniency to those people responsible for that. They're grown-ups, they're adults, they know what they're doing. So saying yeah, but it's a hazing ritual, no, you killed someone. Plain and simple. Now, the fact that hazing rituals are a thing at universities, ridiculous. Higher education is supposed to be higher education. Supposed to be the smart people that go to universities. I know it's not always the case, so don't get me started, or don't say like, university is unnecessary. We're not here to discuss this right now. But it's supposed to be about the mind. Yeah, I know university, sports teams, and so on. But theoretically, right? It's about like studying, becoming smarter, learning more, asking questions. I don't know, being prepared, getting prepared for the real world. How in the world does hazing fit in there? Especially like in to an extent that's happening here. And so here they have like events like every time when the new freshman at university, they call it Rap Nong. And Rap Nong at certain faculties that don't do like those hazing things, it's just like hanging out with the seniors, I don't know, having parties with the seniors, like spending time with them, doing some activities, getting to know each other. Cool. Maybe even going on a trip. Like the faculty I work at, they before COVID, they always had Rap Nong trips, for example, but then the seniors get to know the freshmen and vice versa, of course. Other unis, there's still this hazing thing, right? Where then like all the freshmen have to run through campus, run through the mud, like in the rain, get yelled at by the older students. The fuck. Now, of course, I do understand why it's still there, because once you passed the hazing, you're like, hey, I made it through it. I want to do it to others. Which is ridiculous. And if you think like that, you might not be right in higher education, I think. You could be a drill instructor at the army, maybe. But even if I remember back to when I was in the army and I survived the first like 2 months of intense training and people yelling at me, then they asked like, who wants to be like the drill instructor or assistant drill instructor for the next batch? I was like, no, what the hell? I don't want to yell at people, even though people just yell at me for like 2 months. I don't want to do that. But that's a personal thing. From the hazing point of view, again, university, once you made it through that, like, why do you take so much pleasure from yelling at people, telling people what to do? Now, and we can go down a deep rabbit hole. We could look at the culture, for example. We could look at the culture at universities, the culture in Thailand, which is like where the hierarchy is still very important in all walks of life, like in society, in the workplace, like in relationship, like hopefully not in a couple, but like in relationship with your family members, like older people have like more saying power, for example. You do what they say and so on, right? So maybe that all just comes together there, and it's like, okay, I'm just used to taking orders. Now I want to be that's the one time where I can give orders, because once you're out of that, the hazing as the senior, you can't give orders to anyone else anymore, right? You still basically take orders from, hopefully not, but from your teachers, and then definitely from your family members and so on. So there's some part of me that understands that motivation. That doesn't mean that it's a good thing. So just because I understand doesn't mean I agree with it, right? And I hope you agree with me in this case that there's still no reason. Like, I understand you made it through hazing, so you want to yell at others. But if you just take yourself out of the equation, like, really, does that make sense? Do I want to have this endless chain of screaming going on that will never stop? And then we continue this, like, and then the people just gonna keep dying. Ridiculous. Now, and we're almost at 10 minutes, so I'm 10 minutes in ranting about hazing rituals in Thailand. So I'm gonna finish soon, don't worry. But the last thing I want to say here is, from my point of view, universities need to step up. Authorities need to step up. It happens yearly, basically, right? And we see it in the news. We go like, there's a I don't know if it's an NGO or it's like an organization in Thailand, SOTUS, right? Like SOTUS is like a student organization, and then there's anti-SOTUS, which is like SOTUS is the student organization that does like those activities at universities, activities like Rap Nong and so on, and then hazing. And there's the anti-SOTUS, like a Facebook page, and they very actively highlight those cases and say, hey, you need to speak out about it and so on, which is true. But why only like a Facebook page? Why don't universities step up and say, and I work for a university, let's see for how much longer. But I'm joking in this case. But yeah, why don't universities step up and say like, hey, we don't want this here. If we catch you doing that, you're done. Why not? What do universities gain from having this? Unless it's like this old school mentality, like again, I went through it 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Now the young kids have to do it too. It made me to what I am right now. It's like in those terrible movies when you want to be like in a fraternity or something. Authorities as well. Like, get after those people. If someone dies, like what we saw right now, and I can't emphasize enough that someone died from hazing, then get after them. Don't let him off the hook. Don't let him be a monk for a year or a few months and then that's it, and then come back to university. No, they should go to jail for killing someone. Easy as that. What the hell? It's 2022, and as if we don't have enough other problems, students are killing each other via hazing rituals. Part of my brain says, just lock those guys in a room with the dead, and let's see what happens with them. It's sad. It's making me angry. You can see that. You can hear that. I'm still like, my thoughts are with the dad of the son, of course. I can't believe it. I got into higher education because I thought that's the place where we make a change, like where we form our thoughts. And it sounds cliche, but if you want to change something in education. That's what I thought. And then you still see those things. And it's like frustrating. Why is this so happening? Well, I'll cut it here because I'll just keep on being angry, mad, and sad, and all those things. Let me know what you think about it. Like, how can we stop this hazing thing? How can we stop that that's a thing? Shout out in the comments at funkitpod, email funkitpod@gmail.com. Usually I say like, share, subscribe, and so on, but that doesn't feel like the right place to do. The right place to do right now, the right time to do right now. But I do appreciate if you're just letting me know what you think about the whole situation, because maybe I got it all wrong, or you have ideas on like how we stop it and how we transition out of it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I hope the poor student who died is at peace at least, and I hope the dad can be soon too, and he gets his peace. Until then, as always, take care, stay safe, Chokdi and Sawadee Krap.